Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Messerschmitt Bf109E-4 in 1/72 scale from Airfix. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. Before I start the video, a quick shout out to my patrons. Massive thank you to you for the help you give my channel. To find out what patronage means and the perks it gets you, take a look at the links in the description. So today, the 1/72 scale Messerschmitt Bf109E-4 from Airfix. On the front of the box we get a rather dramatic image of the Messerschmitt in combat with a couple of hurricanes. As is usual with today's releases from Airfix, it also indicates how many different paint schemes are included, and you can see that there's only one. This kit retailed for $6.99, which is the standard price, and that's what I paid for it. Flipping over onto the back of the box, you get the painting and decal placement instructions. These are printed in full colour and really help with any confusion you might have when you come to paint this. What I like about this is if you're in the model shop, you can look down here, and if you have a stash list or a good memory, you can decide which ones you still need to purchase, which at the time when I did get this one I needed some of these, so those are the ones I bought whilst I was in the shop at the same time. Flipping over to one of the edges of the box, you've got multilingual safety information as well as a contact address, some other symbols, and it states that this is suitable for those aged 8 years and older. On this side of the box you get information about the actual Messerschmitt 109. Again, it tells you what the paint scheme is and for which specific aircraft, and this one was based in Holland in January 1940. States that it's a skill level 1, so it should be really easy to build, and 1 flying hour, which if you cut out and keep, you can use to redeem against more kits. The edges of the box feature the same image as on the front of the kit, so you can identify it if they're stacked that way on the shelves. So let's get inside the box and find out what's in there. As is normal, I'm going to take a look at the instructions first. The instructions come in the normal format from Airfix. Multilingual information about the actual Messerschmitt Bf109 is on the front, as well as some safety information and a contact address for Hornby down the bottom. Turn over the page and it's just an A3 piece of paper. Health and safety information in different languages. A key to all the symbols you will encounter during the build. And then the exploded diagrams for when we start to build this. If you've already seen my Bf109E3 unboxing video, this will start to become very familiar, because ultimately this is the same aircraft. Starting off from the top, we're assembling the spinner and propeller, and then we move on to the cockpit, and it tells you which paints you need to paint everything in those steps. Moving on, you can see that there's a representation of the engine moulded actually onto the model, and then we progress on to joining the fuselage together, adding the engine cowling, which you don't have to glue on if you don't want, so that you can see the representation of the engine. We add the tail surfaces, the wheel and support struts for the tail, joining the wings together, and if you want to use a display stand, which is not included, you will have to drill some holes out for that. That is then added to the model. Progressing on, we add the details underneath the aircraft. You can depict the flaps raised or lowered, but you will have to cut them slightly to do that. You can depict the landing gear raised or lowered as well. And then we move on to the canopy, which can be either positioned closed or open. So 14 stages, not too complicated, about right for a level 1. You do get one more piece of paper with this one, and it just helps clarify where you need to put your decals, or stencils as they've called it in this kit. So on this A4 piece of paper you get stencil placement instructions. So if you do get confused at any point and you find this one to be a little bit vague, you can refer to this one, which is quite a nice addition to the kit. Let's take a look at the transfers. So these are up to the normal standard from Airfix, and as you can see they're reasonably well printed, and there's quite a lot of them really for this tiny little kit. Normally with skill level 1s you only get these sort of main transfers here, but you've got quite a few of the smaller detailing transfers. All that remains to be seen is how well they apply to the model. So, the bit we've all been waiting for, the actual plastic parts. So let's take a look inside the bag and see what we get. And like I said, if you have seen my Bf109E-4 unboxing video, this will start to become very familiar. So contained in one bag you get a clear sprue containing the plastic parts, you get 2 grey sprues holding the other plastic parts. Now if I'm honest, they don't seem to be up to the normal standard, particularly of the ones compared to the Bf109E-4. I wonder if I've got a slightly duff version here. You can see there's quite a bit of flash on these, and also they seem to be a bit scratched. They don't seem to be as crystal clear as some of the other versions I've had. So I wonder if I've just got a bad one here, or if more of them are like this. The other plastic parts though, these are up to the normal standard and seem to be quite well moulded. Raised and recessed details are present throughout, particularly the panel lines. And then on this sprue we've got the pilot figure and all the small details, the engine cowling, and here on the main fuselage halves you can see the representation of the engine inside the aircraft. So if you wanted to make a diorama where they're perhaps servicing the engine, it would be quite feasible to do so with this particular kit. But you might be able to tell that this is pretty much a carbon copy of the Bf109E-4 kit. The only difference is the fact that it's got a different box and different decals. So I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head what the actual difference between an E3 and an E4 version are, but they do look to be identical in the kits that I have reviewed. Before I move on, I just want to take a look at the pilot. As you all know, pilot figures are a bit of a bugbear of mine, and generally this one is okay, he's not too bad. Yeah, he's alright. They've done an alright job with this one. There's a little bit of flash there actually, just noticed that. A little bit of flash on the engine cowling, that will need removing. But generally, not too bad. 2 sprues moulded in grey plastic to a fair quality. 1 sprue in a clear plastic, which actually doesn't seem to be up to the normal standard from Airfix. Maybe they'll be able to send me a different one for comparison, or maybe just replace that one because it doesn't look too good. A nice set of decals, stencil information sheet, and instructions on just the build, because if you want your painting instructions, they are on the back of the box. So make sure you do not throw this away before you have finished. And now let's see if I can get it all back inside the box. It's an absolute wonder how they do this in the factory, because these boxes are quite narrow. There we go. So what do I think of this kit? Generally, it's alright. It's effectively a rebox of the Bf109E-4 kit that I reviewed. It's just got different decals. It'll be a little bit more complicated to paint, particularly this sort of mottling effect here. I'm going to have to come up with some sort of good way of doing that with a paintbrush rather than an airbrush, because I don't own an airbrush yet. If you've seen my Bf109G6 build video, you'll know what I'm talking about. The main painting here doesn't look too hard, but it's a skill level 1. So generally skill level 1, the build is going to be easy enough, but the painting might be a little bit too difficult for skill level 1. So perhaps they could have gone with a more simple paint scheme. But I guess this is what Airfix have done. A little bit disappointed with the clear parts. I was expecting them to be a bit better than they were, but they're not terrible. They are something that I could potentially live with, but if I could get some spares from Airfix, perhaps that would be the best thing to do. But generally, I'm looking forward to adding this aircraft in this particular paint scheme to my collection. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this kit, and if you'd like to see me build this one on my channel. And also feel free to post any other suggestions you might have for builds or videos that you might like to see. All that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.